Goran Ordenson woke to a headache and the sound of his heart pumping in his ears, as if his blood was being forced into his skull and was slowly inflating it. As he slowly opened his eyes, he began to realize why. He was upside down, looking at a particularly boring patch of rocky land that, other than the fact that he seemed to be floating above it instead of falling to it at incredible speed, seemed unremarkable. Looking up towards the rest of his body, he realized he was entangled in some sort of rigging, the taut rope preventing him from plummeting to his death. The rope was attached to a floating frigate that he currently called home, a frigate that Goran realized as his memory slowly returned would be full of Skaven. Skaven, who took the opportunity to assault his frigate some time ago as it was passing near a mountaintop. The frigate's crew had planned to inspect the mountain for further aether deposits before heading back to the stronghold, possibly topping off their holds and squeezing a bit more profit from their already successful venture. It was while they were distracted by a promising find that the Skaven struck. Jumping down from above, they skidded onto the frigate and started assaulting the crew. Caught totally unprepared, the crew stood little chance. Goran himself was thrown clear of the frigate as the massive fist of a rat ogre removed his consciousness and, as his current predicament evidenced, threw him off the boat. Slowly dragging himself up the rope and cursing the Skaven the entire way, Goran eventually made it towards the lip of the deck. It was at that moment that a curious Skaven popped its head out of a nearby porthole, wondering what was making all that noise. Thankfully, Goran was close enough to grab it by the throat, its beady little eyes almost popping out in surprise and pain. With one swift pull, Goran threw the Skaven off the frigate and towards the ground below, its screech lost to the wind. Pulling himself up, and thankful that Skaven were too stupid to set up a sentry, his metal boots landed on the deck. Checking his ammo gauge and cocking his ether gun, Goran got ready to get to work. Standing inside of the command room of the frigate, Skitbite was satisfied. A Skaven of unparalleled genius. As he always told those beneath him, he had planned well. He knew that attacking the Kharadron would be risky, but if he surprised him with his master plan of hiding, he knew it would all be his. He had won a ship, and, more importantly, he had lived. With only a few slave warriors left and his heavily wounded rat ogre barely standing next to him, it was a costly victory. But no matter. The hold of this flying machine was full of ether gold. He could afford to buy replacements. Skitbite continued dreaming of his future slaves and status, until a small ball with the stylized carving of Doradin's head rolled into the room. His eyes widening, Skitbite turned towards the exit, only to see a Doradin slam it shut and the distinct sound of a lock being put in place. Skitbite's final thoughts, before the explosive device plastered him across the walls, was how truly unfair the realms could be. What would it take to utterly change a race as bound to tradition and as stubborn as the Doradin? A race so utterly against change that many theorize it would take the end of the world for them to change their ways. During the Age of Chaos, that theory was put to the test. When one stronghold after another fell to the growing armies of Chaos, the Doradin, who would later become the Kharadron Overlords, had to make a choice. To continue in the old ways, the ways of kings and ancient traditions, or find a new path. One that would reforge their people for the coming storm. For what honor is there in keeping to a dying society, in sticking to a path that would be the extinction of their race? The first stepping stone on this path was the discovery of ether gold, a magically active substance so strange and alluring that it became known as Grungni's breath. A substance that is not only invisible to magical detection, allowing the overlords to hide from prying eyes, but also allowing for the Doradin to do the unimaginable. To live in the clouds. Through this magical substance, Doradin created its first floating strongholds, vast bastions of order floating in ether gold currents, hidden from the chaotic armies rampaging below. The second step, and the one that would truly define the dictates of their race, was the code. With so many strongholds looking for ether gold, conflict was inevitable. It seemed that the Doradin would do to themselves what the forces of chaos could not: destroy their race. A way had to be decided to end the conflict as well as guide the Doradin to a brighter future. And so, the Doradin gathered, meeting for a great debate that would later be known as the Conference of Meldrata. And it was in those halls that the great legal tome, known as the Code, would slowly be established. A code whose specifics were many, but whose main tenets were clear. No more would the Duradin be ruled by kings, for choosing who to rule by blood is madness. You are as likely to get a mad fool as you are to get a wise and noble liege. No, those who rule are those who deserve it. Those who merit authority by the profit and resources they bring to the stronghold. Any Duradin, if they are smart and brave enough, will have a chance to become the captain of the ship or the head of a guild. And any Duradin who loses power due to lack of profit will feel no shame, for there will always be a chance to regain that power once again. As for the gods, there will be no more worship. There will be respect and consideration of their words. The gods had abandoned the Kharadron Overlords. Whether through apathy or weakness, the gods left their worshippers to die, and thus the Duradin would no longer depend on them. Where before they were bound by tradition, now they would be bound by innovation. Resources would be used to increase their knowledge of engineering, to unleash the full technical skills of the Duradin and fashion a new path for their race. Finally, and some would say controversially, they would no longer intervene in the wars against chaos. Aiding those below has only led to death and devastation. The code was clear. Only when it directly profited the Kharadron would aid be given. Otherwise, those who beseeched them would be ignored, for the Kharadron must look to their own. A harsh rule, but none can truly say it did not achieve its goal. During the Age of Chaos, while so many civilizations and races suffered and died, the Kharadron Overlords thrived. Their technological manipulation of ether gold and their strict adherence to the code allowed them to create a vast floating mercantile empire. This isolation would have continued, if not for the coming of the Stormcast Eternals. After much debate, it was decided it was time for the Kharadron Overlords' isolation to end. It was a chance for a new and possibly winnable fight against chaos, a path to research and develop new technology to increase their knowledge and power, and a way to open up new trade routes with the new and burgeoning empires across the realms. To be a Kharadron Overlord is to be the masters of trade and Duradin engineering, to open up new avenues of profit through the skills of the merchant and the barrel of the ether gun. Hey guys, this is Arvandus, and I want to say I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like these short stories / descriptions of various races in Age of Sigmar, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll keep doing it. Not only Age of Sigmar, perhaps other games that I have interest in. Anyway, thanks for listening, and see you next time.